Good morning. This is Hope Reactor. Now, let's begin today's news.
A battlefield in Europe. Mud, blood, explosions. As soldiers collapsed one after another in the middle of chaos, one man was thinking about something strange. What if we could divide the atmosphere into countless small sections and calculate them all to predict the future? Today, that sounds normal. AI, simulation, big data, GPU clusters. But back then, computers didn't even exist. And yet, this man had already seen the structure of the future. His name was Fry Richardson, the man who wrote the blueprint for the predictive civilization we live in today. Main story: Richardson was not an ordinary scientist. He was a mathematician, a physicist, a meteorologist, and during World War I, a battlefield ambulance driver. While bombs exploded around him, he carried wounded soldiers to safety and filled notebooks with equations. Most people looked at war and saw chaos. Richardson looked at chaos and searched for patterns. At the time, weather forecasting was mostly based on experience and intuition. Yesterday looked like this, so tomorrow probably will too. But Richardson thought differently. The atmosphere is a massive physical system. If we calculate the laws of physics precisely enough, we should be able to predict the future mathematically. This became the foundation of what we now call numerical weather prediction. Every weather app on your phone, typhoon tracking, storm simulations, climate models, all of it traces back to ideas that first existed inside his mind. But there was one enormous problem: the calculations. His theory was correct. It was simply too early. Humanity at the time had no machine powerful enough to process the unimaginable amount of math required. Most people would have given up there. Richardson didn't. Instead, he imagined something extraordinary. A giant hall, thousands of people sitting together, each person responsible for calculating one small part of the atmosphere, passing numbers from one person to another, working simultaneously, calculating the future together in parallel. He genuinely believed this could work. And from a modern perspective, it's almost chilling, because what he imagined was essentially distributed computing, cloud processing, parallel computation, network-based intelligence. In other words, he predicted the structure of the computer age before computers even existed, using nothing but a pencil. Naturally, the scientific community laughed at him. Completely impractical, a dreamer, impossible. The majority usually sees only the limits of the present, but the people who truly change the future often build their thinking around infrastructure that doesn't exist yet. Richardson was one of those people. And weather prediction wasn't even the end of it. He also tried to mathematically analyze war itself. What if conflicts between nations follow hidden patterns? Population, borders, resources, distance. He attempted to model the probability of conflict mathematically. Today we would call this predictive analytics, risk modeling, behavioral simulation, the same things governments, financial institutions, and AI companies are doing right now. He was touching the foundations of the future prediction. Industry completely alone, a century too early. And this is the important part. He didn't have advanced technology. Actually, he had almost nothing. No supercomputers, no internet, no AI, only paper, a pencil, and an extraordinary level of logical thinking. Hope Reactor commentary. People in the past lived without AI, without the internet, without instant access to information. They couldn't search for answers in seconds, and yet many of them still pushed forward while the world laughed at them, believing their ideas were worth pursuing. Fry Richardson was one of those people. In an era without computers, he believed the future itself could be calculated. And now we are standing on top of the technology and education built by people like him. That's why Hope Reactor believes this. If modern society has more tools, more knowledge, and more opportunities, then we should be capable of even greater things. You do not need to be a genius. You only need the mindset to improve a little every day. One step, then another. Because small improvements made by millions of people eventually raise the level of an entire society. The future is not created only by a few extraordinary individuals. It may actually be built from the small evolution of ordinary people. Final section. In 2026, many people misunderstand something important. They think, the newest AI tools will make me successful. The latest technology creates the future. But maybe the truth is the opposite. The people who shape the future are often the ones who recognize the structure before the tools even exist. Technology simply catches up later. Richardson proved this 100 years ago. The thing that changes the world is not the gadget. It is the ability to see invisible structures before everyone else does. Imagine it. A battlefield. Explosions everywhere. Death all around him. And in the middle of that chaos, one man quietly believed, the future can be calculated. Was that madness? Or was it one of the greatest acts of foresight in human history? His generation could not understand him. But today, AI systems, financial models, climate simulations, and predictive algorithms all operate on foundations connected to the world he imagined. He did not catch up to the future. The future finally caught up to him. Ending. Fry Richardson designed the logic of the future with nothing but a pencil on a battlefield. So let me ask you something. Are you waiting for technology to give you an advantage? Or are you building your own future logic before the world understands it? Thank you for watching. On Hope Reactor, we explore the hidden thinkers, forgotten visionaries, and people who saw the future long before the rest of the world did. Because sometimes the future does not begin inside advanced technology. Sometimes it begins as a quiet idea that nobody else believes in yet.